This league does not take nights off. Week 5, we saw a potential final preview between Halifax and Saskatchewan that went right down to the wire. Las Vegas going into Toronto, having a big statement win, showing why they should be considered a top 8 team. Ottawa putting up 16 goals, showing they can score at will anytime they want. Georgia, probably one of the best defensive games I've seen this year. Brett Dobson playing lights out even after he was run over. Buffalo Bandits showing why they are a veteran team, starting the game the same way that they finished the game and absolutely dominating. And finally, we have the Jack Hanna trade done. He is going to Colorado, and he will be a Mammoth. Welcome back. My name's Jake McDonald. I'm Anything Lacrosse, and this is a game that never sits still. So first off, I just want to say I hope everyone had a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays and all that kind of stuff. I also want to say this is going to be a New Year's episode, so Happy New Year. Don't drink and drive. Stay safe and have a good time. So we'll be going over the Jack Hanna trade, the details into that, a little bit of drama over on X that we'll be talking about. We'll also be going over Week 5, all the games in detail as always. We'll be giving you all my power rankings, my weekly awards, and finally I'll go over through the standings where everyone's sitting, as well as the top point getters of the league. So without further ado, let's get right into this, guys. So first off, we've got a Jack Hanna trade. So this has been speculated for a while. At first, it was like, no way. Then, Jack Hanna kind of dug his heels in there and he got it done. Now, I find with these trades, usually the team kind of gets the short end of the stick here. I think this is kind of what happened. I personally am pretty high on Jack Hanna. I think he can be potentially a 100-point guy. So to give up this for anybody is risky. But for the silver lining here is that the next 2 drafts are very, very deep and absolutely phenomenal. So to get some draft picks right now might not be the worst thing. And these trades it's always easier to look in the rearview mirror and talk about them rather than as soon as they're done. So we'll see what happens. As everyone knows, that's been listening to me for a long time, I am not a fan of trading first round picks though. I will say that. But in this situation, you have to give something up because they weren't ready to give up any key pieces for Jack Hanna. So we've got, in return, Las Vegas gets a complimentary first round pick in 2026. They get a first round pick in 2027, which is absolutely huge. And then they get a second round pick in 2028. Now the complimentary pick is the one they received when Connor Robertson signed in San Diego. So essentially it's San Diego's pick, right? So they didn't really give up too much for him. They give one of their first as well, and then a second. But overall, for a caliber player like Jack Hanna, I do think that's kind of a steal. You know what you're getting out of Jack Hanna. The draft picks are great, but you can kind of biff on them. So, and this league's hard. It's only the cream of the crop play in this league. So you better make sure that you chose right. With Jack Hanna, you already know you got a winner. With those other draft picks, you got to hope that your guys, your scouts, and your team can do the right job picking the right guys. So another thing, I just want to give out like a little bit of a shout out to Landon Kells. We had an absolute great performance, first off. So this is the first time reported by Teddy Jenner, has won back-to-back games for the first time since he won 3 straight back in 2023. Things are looking up in Vegas for him. People are sleeping on Vegas, and you shouldn't be, because Vegas is a lot better than people are giving him credit for. Another thing I want to mention before we get into this. So this is reported by that other thing was reported by Teddy Jenner. I do want to give credit where credit's due. We know we don't want to get into this X and Twitter mess, so we're going to give credit where credit's due. Just a little job, guys. I'm just fucking around. We've got Loose Mesh reporting 2,000 saves in 58 games, fastest the mark in the modern era. Brett Dobson. Wow, what a performance. And what a performance he had. We're going to talk about that. Don't you worry about that. And another thing for the Brett Dobson stuff too, man. Brett Dobson has 3 games for Georgia this season. 50 saves, 5 goals against, 90.9 save percentage, 37 saves, 6 goals against, and an 86 save percentage. You got 43 saves, 3 goals against, and a 93.5 save percentage against Colorado. This kid is a stud. So just a couple quick little shout outs, tidbits of information for you there. That one was reported by Dan Arestia. Shout out to Dan there. Great guy. So there you have it, guys. Jack Hanna trade's done. And at the end of the day, I always say, I do think this is the best for the league for Jack Hanna. The only one that really gets, like I said, the short end of the stick is Las Vegas. But evens out for all the free agency guys they got to pick up. So this is the universe. You get good and bad, and this is how it goes. All right, so I just want to touch a little bit on this, okay? There's a little bit of Twitter drama going on, or beef, between Michael Carvelis and Dawson Nielsen and the Loose Mesh boys, Elliot Frickman. Steve Toll somehow seems to stay out of this stuff, which is good for him, buddy. Good for him. But, I do understand to a point, I guess if you're releasing information and you want the credit for it, right? Like, if you're gonna be the first one to put that out there, and then someone else comes and takes your credit, or if you're, maybe you're getting from the same pool almost or something, like there's nothing wrong with giving credit where credit's due, right? I like Mike personally. I think I've been on his show. He's a nice guy. I've never had any issues with him. I do think that, it seems like he's more doubling down by taking more jabs instead of just kind of being like, yeah, you guys put it out first, whatever. I personally seen it first by Loose Mesh. A lot of other people have stated that it was Loose Mesh to put it out. I think it was Patty or Teddy that came on and said that. I can't remember. So I don't want to put words in their mouth, either one of them. But it's definitely, this is just bullshit, guys. Like, we shouldn't be fighting with each other on X or on X or on Twitter, whatever you want to call it. But we shouldn't be fighting with each other like this. I get you need to defend yourself, but I think, the problem is it just keeps escalating. So we'll see what happens. I think it's kind of all calmed down now. Don't get me wrong. I just thought I'd touch on it because I know both these guys. Like, I never say anything bad about either. And I try not to say bad about anything about anybody, but especially Dawson, because he's done so much for me. And like, even Michael, he's been nice to me too. So I'm not going to sit here and bash Mike. At the end of the day, I always say, when you say this much stuff, when you put out this much content as much as Michael does, you're going to say shit that you just have to take back and you fucked up on. I think the important thing is when you do fuck up, you got to kind of own up to it. That's what I try to do anyway. So we'll see if this just kind of blows over or what's going to happen. But I just thought it was funny because at the end of the day, you do not see this in other sports. And that's why I love lacrosse, man. It's got this like rawness to it that where people are just, they don't care. So we'll see what happens, guys. I mean, I'm not, like I said, I don't know. I know obviously what I've seen on X, and I've talked to, talks, whatever. I've just talked to different people and stuff. And so I do kind of know the gist of it, but I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I know what I'm talking about when it comes to this. So I'm just going to go based off what is out there in the public. And I hope these guys can just get together, because at the end and kind of just come to terms. It'll probably take an apology on at least one side, but we'll see what happens. At the end of the day, I'm just going to try to keep plowing through and stay out of the drama. Yeah, I'm here for it though, man. It's like, I'll sit here from the sidelines and watch it. It's entertaining for me. I don't know how everyone else feels about it. I know some guys don't really like this stuff. I think whatever brings eyes to this sport. So, beefs always tend to do that. I know people don't like it, but call it the Jake Paul effect or whatever you want to call it. But this shit does bring eyes to the sports. So it gets people talking about it. So, hey, who knows? Who knows, man? I hope everyone both of these guys can get back, because, I mean, at the end of the day, Michael does bring out a lot of good information. Dawson brings out a bunch of good information. Frick is just, they're all guys that I look at when I jump on and look for information. So I think everybody's bringing out good information. Everyone's just trying to get, I guess they want to be known as the first ones out there. And that's the name of the game in this business. That's why, for me personally, I'm trying to build more of a personal brand than me be the guy that's going to get the information out, because that is never going to be me. It's just not. Or maybe it will be one day, and it is what it is. But I'm not trying to be that guy, because I'm more just going to give my opinions on stuff. And that way, I don't have to worry if I'm the first, third, fifth, or 10th. This is my opinion on the situation. Here you go. And then you can argue with me all day. So anyway, like I said, hope that all blows over and we can just get back to, living cute kumbaya, right? So we'll see. I'm sure everything's going to blow over, boys. Don't worry. And I don't think, honestly, it's like at the end of the day, realistically, they're both pretty good at what they do. So I don't think either one of them is going to, it's not like either one of them is really going to destroy the other one or something, in my opinion, right? Game 1 of the week was Saskatchewan versus Halifax. And this did not disappoint. Very back and forth. I don't think there was I could be wrong with this, but I don't think there was a 2-goal lead. And it was just very, very back and forth. One team would go up, one team would come back, one team would go up, one team would come back kind of deal. It was just tight right till the end. What happened at the end of this game? I have no idea, to be honest with you. I don't know what happened there. It seemed like the play was dead. Saskatchewan capitalized and went down to score the game winner. A little bit of a rough finish, in my opinion, after such a great game to finish like that. But it's a good lesson to Halifax to always be ready, because Saskatchewan was ready and they weren't. They got a lot caught sleeping there a little bit, and it kind of cost them the game. So we have a 10-9 win to Saskatchewan over Halifax. First quarter was 2-2 goals apiece. Saskatchewan got 3 in the second. Halifax got 2. Completely opposite in the third. Halifax getting 3, Saskatchewan getting 2. And then finally, Saskatchewan getting 3 goals with Halifax 2 in the final quarter to solidify. This game could have easily went both ways. Halifax could have easily won this game. Warren Hill played fantastic. Frankie played fantastic. Both of them were making absolute amazing saves. I would probably give the edge to Warren, just because it was just another amazing performance by both these guys. But both these teams have such high scoring power and so many guys who can score. It's hard to stop them all, right? And the bonus in this is we get to see them play in Saskatchewan this week coming up. So we're going to get to see a rematch. Halifax, in my opinion, has to go in there and show them, that they are the best team still and win that game. They already came into the barn and beat you in your barn. It's time to go do the same thing to them. Now, Saskatchewan, they ain't going to let that happen, man. Saskatchewan's a hard-nosed team, and they're really hard to play at home. I don't know what their record was last year at home, but it was like they had a very, very winning record at home, and they are scary. They're the same team. They love playing in that building, and it's going to be a banger of a game. Again, I think that's arguably going to be the game of the week and decide who's really on top of the league again. Couple standout stats that look up to me right now. I'm a big loose ball guy. Jake Boudreau with 10, Jake Withers with 12, obviously. Randy Stats with 9 shots in net. Robert Church with 12. Robert Church is always just everywhere, man. And then Warren Hill with 43 saves. It's just amazing. Frankie with 33 saves. Like I said, first off, we got the Rush. You got Zach Mans with 2 goals and an assist. He looked really, really good. Zach Mans did. Mike Messenger with 2 assists. He looked good as well. Keenan with 2 goals, 4 assists for 6 points. Absolutely killer. Robert Church with 3 points, a goal and assist. Mattachoni with 2 goals. You got Josh Zawada with a goal. I'm pretty sure he had 1 call back as well, if I'm not mistaken. And like I said, Frankie with 33 saves, 9 goals against. Realistically, those numbers don't look as good as I thought he played. I thought he played really well this game, actually, to be honest with you. So I don't think that gives him really much credit for what he actually was able to do. Then you've got Halifax, and you got Mike Robinson, a goal and an assist. Clark Peterson with 4 assists. You've got Ryan Terfenko with a goal and an assist. And the more I watch that guy, the more I really like him. He came out of nowhere and scored. It was impressive. You got Dawson Steed with 2 goals and assists, which is kind of slowly starting to become my favorite player on Halifax. Randy Stotts, 3 goals, 3 assists. This guy's just so good. So good, man, Randy Stotts is. You have Cody Jamieson with 2 goals and with big goals. And that's the thing. You get these guys with big, big goals. And then, like I said, you had Warren Hill, 43 saves, 10 goals against, a loss. But, man, he has been way better than people expected. Now, like I mentioned, the reffing in this game, a little sus. I'm not going to lie. And you guys know me. Like, I'm pretty good when it comes to refereeing. Like, I'm always, like, pretty complimentary of the league on how they do the reffing. I think they're one of the better ref leagues. The Saskatchewan game, I wasn't in love with it. Even some of the penalties called, I was like, those are a little bit weakies. Yeah, I didn't love the reffing in that game. But at the end of the day, this is professional sports, and being a Leafs fan, I definitely hate blaming the refs. So Halifax has to do more. They got to be better. And I know that's hard to say, but in order to beat that team, you're going to be better. Because I think this is, to me, is the finals preview. It really is. Like, I think Saskatchewan Halifax is going to be the finals this year. Whatever team loses, it's going to be absolutely heartbreaking because Halifax is in their window and Saskatchewan went to the finals last year. And then if they go to 2 finals in a row and lose both, that's a really hard pill to swallow. We'll see. Hopefully both teams do get there. I mean, it's a long season still, but it's interesting, right? Then you've got, game 2, which was on basically the same time, an hour later. You have Philadelphia versus Ottawa. Ottawa winning 16-12. Ottawa showing that they can put goals up. Now, again, it is on Philly, which isn't, maybe not the best defensive team, but they showed that they can do it. Now, Jeff Teat did carry a lot of the weight, but still, like, they have a team, man, over there. And I love Ottawa. I always say, if I could get one prediction right this whole season from the beginning, it would be Ottawa making the playoffs. I'm like so on that train, and they've had a hard start to the season, and they've had some big wins already. They're better than people give them credit for. They are. And they're not too many people talk about them. And I'm telling you, I'm a big Ottawa supporter. I'm going to have to go to a game this season. I've already decided that, just later in the season when it gets nicer. I'm just going to drive to Ottawa. It's like 10 hours. I'll just drive there and see a game before the end of the season. Mark my words on that one. So you had Ottawa coming out strong. 5 goals in the first, 2 goals in the first by Philly. Philly had 2 goals in the second, 5 goals in the third. So that was their biggest quarter. And then in the fourth, they had 3, where Ottawa had 5 goals in the first, 2 goals in the second. So same as Philly, but they already had that lead. Then you had them getting outscored by Philly in the third, and then finally coming back and having a massive fourth quarter with 7 goals. Huge game there. Face-offs were 18-32 for Philly and 14-32 for Ottawa. Realistically, pretty even. You had shots on goal, 56 shots on goal for Ottawa and 45 for Philly. You had power plays. Philly was 3 for 3 and Ottawa was 4 for 4. So both going perfect in the power play, which is it's a big thing. It can help you win games. And then penalty minutes, Philadelphia had 8, Ottawa had 6. So pretty low penalty minute night, to be honest with you. And the big, so there's a couple stars on both sides, obviously. And Brendan O'Neill is one of them. 6 goals. He's becoming one of my favorite players in the league very fast. I think that he's up there he's got to have a top 10 shot in the league at least. Like, he's really good. I even think he might have the best shot in the league, but I'm trying to be conservative with him because he is so young. But this kid is going to be scary come the next few seasons. He's becoming my favorite player. I'm telling you that right now. He might end up being the top goal scorer this year. So we'll see. So absolutely fantastic performance by him. Joey Rez with 6 assists is huge as well. Jeff Teat, though. Jeff Teat and Robert Hellier, man. Those two, dynamic duo. Jeff Teat had 9 assists for 11 points, and Robert Hellier had 4 goals. So huge for him, too. He's been such a great addition to this Ottawa offense. And again, way more impactful than I actually thought. I knew he was good, but I didn't realize how good he is. And he's really, really having a fantastic year. So I'm going to have to look at his historical stats because I don't know them off the top of my head. But you guys put in the chat if he's having an more than normal year, or is it just normal Robert Hellier? Brendan O'Neill led the team, or led the game with 15 shots. Hellier was 14, so he's right there. Loose balls, 11 for Callum Jones, which was a big, big piece for Ottawa. And then you also had Nicholas Rolett with 11 as well. Turnovers, you have 4 turnovers caused by Callum Jones. Huge night for that guy. Goaltending, 37 saves for Knott, and Zach Higgins had 31. So, not a bad night. Could be better in net for both these guys, but it is what it is, right? So just run through the actual stats here. You had a goal by Burkhoff. You had a goal by Riordan. You had a goal by Caputo and 3 assists by him as well, sorry. Riordan also had a goal and assist, sorry. You had a goal and 4 assists by Dalton Young. Brendan O'Neill, 8 points, 6 goals, 2 assists. Fantastic. Eric Fennell, 2 goals and 2 assists for 4 points. Huge. I mean, this is the thing. And then Joey Rez, somewhere I missed him in there. I know he had 6. Oh yeah, Joey Rez, 6 assists. So no goals for him, which is strange to be honest with you, but he's obviously the facilitator this year. And then Nick Demood had 4 saves, 1 out. And then you had 4 saves, 3 goals, so he got pulled. And then you had Deacon Knott with 11 goals against and 37 saves. So, the nice thing about having a decent backup is if something happens to your regular goalie, you can put somebody in confidence. And I mean, Dylan Knott, honestly, overall, he didn't have a bad game, really. He would even arguably, well, no, he probably wouldn't have won, but he had, honestly, overall, not a bad performance by him. And Philadelphia is better. Like I said, they're better. They're better than people give them credit for, including myself. But I also will say that they can't rely so heavily on a couple guys, right? They need more offense. I like Nick Demood, though, honestly, most games, to be honest, but it is what it is. Everyone has an off game, right? Then you've got, so on the Ottawa side, you've got Kevin Brownell with a goal. You've got Riley O'Connor with 3 goals, 4 assists, 7 points. Huge. Robert Hellier with 4 goals, 2 assists. You got Brett Noseworthy with a goal and assist. Sam Firth with 2 goals. Also got Jeff Teat with 2 goals and 9 assists for 11 points. Huge night for him. Larson Sundown, which honestly, I really love this kid. A goal and 2 assists. And then you've got Connor Kiernan with 2 goals, 4 assists. You got Zach Higgins with 12 goals against, 31 saves, and did enough to win the game. And that's the truth of it. He had some big saves too, though. Honestly, he did. He kept Ottawa in there. It would have been worse without him in net. Let's just put it that way. Is the best way I can put it. So again, another pretty good performance by Ottawa. Ottawa is looking pretty decent. Honestly, Philly to me isn't a top team, so I guess I shouldn't say I'm not overly impressed with this, but the fact they put up 16 was impressive. But it is on Philly. I love to see teams do this against really top tier teams, but obviously they're so good, it's hard to. But the thing is, Jeff Teat, Robert Hellier, got O'Connor in there. Like they got some guys that if they can, they could keep producing like they are. You never know, right? So Higgins probably has to be a little bit better, I would say though, and number wise anyway. So then finally, so you had another here's another big game that happened. So you had Las Vegas versus Toronto. Las Vegas won 17-11. Now I did call Toronto. I figured they needed a win. I figured they're at home. They need a win to try to can be considered in that top 8 because that's where they want to be. I just don't think they're there yet. I'm just saying, I think they're going to finish 9th. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs, Toronto. Personally, sorry, Toronto, they're the only team that follows me on TikTok, so I do apologize, but they're going to be so good in the next couple of years with the other English coming up, having both those brothers there on the back end. Then you've got, or more than likely on the back end, I would assume. Then you've got all the young studs. You've got picks coming up this year. You're probably going to get, probably a top 3 pick this year from Calgary. So that's another monster piece to adding to this huge monster young core team that Toronto is. Are they going to be sellers by the trade deadline? I don't know about that. Are they going to have a better record than they did last year? I do think they are going to have a better record than they did last year. I just don't think it's going to be good enough to make the playoffs. So anyway, you had Vegas getting 3 in the first, 3 in the second, 5 in the third, and 6 in the fourth. So just continuously, essentially getting better each quarter. And then you had Toronto, a goal with 1 in the first, 3 in the second, 4 in the third, and 3 in the fourth. So this is the thing. These teams, what I'm finding is they're getting up and they're just trying to stay up. And that's a great strategy. So getting out and scoring early is such a huge advantage, more than a lot of other sports, I think, because you'll see these guys turn on the Jets and then they can just play such solid defense and then capitalize when they need to capitalize. So Vegas is going to, if Kells can play the way he's been playing, Vegas is going to be scary this year. And I personally, at the beginning of the season, I had them ranked at the top, in the top 5 for me. I do think they have a potential that they get there. I might have been a little overzealous on them, kind of like, that new toy effect. They had all these new players, but they are really good. It's just, are they better than Rochester? I don't know. Honestly, probably not. I don't think so, but we'll see when this time comes up. Can they beat one of these top level teams? That's going to be the real challenge for them, right? So we'll see. But right now they look pretty damn good and they're definitely in my top 8. That's for sure. So they absolutely dominated in the faceoffs, 23-32-1 compared to 9-for-32 for Toronto. Most times faceoffs don't seem to make a difference. At least last week it didn't. This week it seems a little bit different. It was even for the other games pretty much. You got power play. Vegas capitalizing 3-for-3 on the power plays. That's a huge stat. And then Toronto only going 0-for-1. The proof's in the pudding, boys. You give Vegas a chance to go capitalize on power play, they're going to do it. They have a lot of weapons. They could put the ball in the net. And it's really hard to stop a team like that. There's such an offensive presence, and if Kells can play as good as he has been, there's no reason they're not getting the goaltending they need to do to win, as long as they can continue to put up numbers like these. So Chase Frazier with a hat trick with 3 goals, or CJ Kurse with 4 goals, huge. Then you've got Mitch Jones with 7 assists, Latrell Harris with 4. Mitch Jones with 9 total points, huge. CJ Kurse leading the game with 13 shots on net. Also, a cool little stat here. He also got 10 loose balls. He's getting in those grindy areas as well, and not afraid to get in there, which is huge for him. Coming over from field, from what I see anyway, is there's a stigma that field guys don't want to get hit, and I don't think that's true. Going by a lot of these guys, so but there is that stigma. I'm not saying it's a true thing, but there are some guys that are like that, and I don't agree with that, because when you see players like this. Now, obviously, he's also played high level box before as well, different beast, and to get 10 loose balls in game is absolutely huge, especially for forward. Then you've got 11 goals allowed by Kells, and then 8 by Halichuk. So that doesn't really matter, to be honest with you. Landon Kells, 43 saves with 11 goals, and that's not a bad game at all, right? So what he got? He was 43 saves on 54 shots. Like that's a pretty decent. That's enough. And I think that's enough anyway. So Vegas, you had 2 assists by Belgrave. You had Donville getting a goal. You had Tony Malcolm getting 2 assists. You had Chase Frazier getting 3 goals, 3 goals, 2 assists, 5 points. You had LaFontaine with a goal and assist. You had Mitch Jones with 2 goals, 7 assists. You had Adam Poltris with 2 goals. You had Chris Klutz with 2 goals, 5 assists, 7 points. Huge. Connor Kurse got a goal. Sean Wesley got 2 goals, 2 assists. You got Jackson Webster with 3 goals, 2 assists. And then, like I said, Kells had 11 goals against and 43 saves. We'll go through Toronto Rocks here. So CJ Kurse with 4 goals, 1 assist. Huge. Shots on goal, like I said, 13 shots on goal and 10 loose balls. Like, this kid is just... And then he had 2 caused turnovers as well. Like, he's doing everything out there, boys. For a first-round pick, he's doing more than is expected, I would think, anyway. Josh Dawick with a goal and assist. You got Sam English with 3 assists. Kid's a stud. I love that kid, man. Chris Boucher with 2 assists. You got Rogers with getting a goal. You got Keller with a goal. You got Jubenville with 2 goals. Mark Matthews with a goal and 2 assists. Weir with an assist. Owen Hiltz with a goal. He's starting to fall off a little bit. Not saying that's that bad. 4 assists worth of Latrell Harris as well. And you got 8 goals against, 19 saves. And you have Howchuck getting 8 goals with 16. So, Nick Rosehead was actually had a really good start to the season, but this was his worst performance for sure. So we'll have to see what he's going to do. He's got to bounce back. With goaltending's a big issue, man. They need to, if they want to be considered a playoff team, they need to have better goaltending like that. And, is Rose over the hump? Was this a rough game for him to have people figured him out? His short side is definitely weak. We'll have to see what happens with this, man. I don't know. I'm personally a Rose fan. I think he's amazing. I think he gets a little bit mistreated this game, though. I do understand. Toronto fans are hard in hockey and in lacrosse, but they are definitely going to have to figure out a goalie situation going forward, because I don't think Halichuk's the guy either. So just my opinion, though, boys. Anyway. So that brings us right into Colorado Mammoth versus Georgia. And we got Georgia upsetting Colorado 12-3. Now, no disrespect from Georgia, but they just haven't been great offensively. Brett Dobbs has been great all year, right? I went through those little stats earlier about his save percentage, like in the 90s, 2 out of the last 3 games, 95 this game or something, like just insane. 3 goals against, and he got ran over. Just the guy's a juggernaut. And he's really trying to prove that he's the best goalie in the world. If he had a bit of a better offense, now this is good enough. This is it. They can put up 12 goals a game. They're doing right. And against a team like Colorado that actually, in my opinion, has a fantastic defense. It's true. Now, Colorado, they just cannot score without Andrew Q there. That can't be the case. They brought Jack Hanna in now. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to play this game. But Andrew Q's not going to be back from what I hear, though. He's got a broken thumb. And he's going to be out for a little while still. So they need to figure out their offense. They got to get it together. I don't know what to tell you. Like, it can't be all Malcolm out there doing everything, setting up plays that nobody gets. And they started out good, but then they just killed it. Like, I don't know what happened here. So anyway, Georgia got 3 in the first, 1 in the second, 6 in the third, and 2 in the fourth. Second half was really where they won the game. Colorado got 2 goals in the first, 1 goal in the second, and that was it. It was early scoring, and that was it. Not good enough, boys. And I think they know that. They have to know that, right? Can't put up 3 and expect to win. No matter how good your goalie is, there's no way you're winning those games with 3 goals in the NLL. There's no fucking way. Georgia had 57 shots. 57 shots. They were peppering Colorado, right? So Colorado does have to do better. They were 4 for 19 on faceoffs, which goes back into my theory where the faceoffs don't really mean much. This kind of shows that. Colorado 46 shots on net, 15 for 19 in the faceoff. Georgia power play needs to be better, 2 for 5, and then Colorado 1 for 2. 12 penalty minutes for Colorado and 6 for Georgia. Anybody really stand out here? Shane Jackson with 5 points. Shane Jackson with 5 points, 11 shots on goal. Malcolm with 9 shots on goal. Again, like I said, it'd just be him. Robert Hope with 11 loose ball pickups. Huge. I love my loose ball pickups, boys. Got Dylan Ward with 10 goals allowed. Brett Dobson with 3. This is the battle of the goalies, battle of the Canadian goalies. The boys, they've been teammates, before in nationals and stuff like that. Seems like they are the two guys that are going to be looked at when we go to the Olympics in 2028. And I feel super confident with either one of these guys in net. So 43 saves for Brett Dobson, 45 for Dylan Ward. What an amazing performance for Brett Dobson. And I don't know, I've been saying, it's the year of the goalies. There's definitely more goals now, but Brett Dobson, buddy, he is having a fantastic year so far. Wow. So we got Lyle Thompson with a goal and 3 assists for 4 points. Much better night for Lyle. This is kind of what we expect. We still are seeing a decline from him this year, it looks like, though. He's not going to be that huge offensive guy anymore. He's got, he had one loose ball. He's usually usually does it all. So this is what happens in this lacrosse. It's a heavy hitting game. I hope that we'll see, man. He's a great veteran leader for these guys, and he's still a top player in the world. Don't get me wrong, but you can definitely see he's starting to slow down a bit, right? He's not quite the same player that he has been up to this point. Now this season is still pretty young. So again, maybe he's just finding himself in this offense a little bit this year, and we're going to see an explosion. But right now, from what I'm seeing out of him, he's just not as noticeable out on the surface as he was, right? That's what I find. So we got Mike Manley with a goal. You have Nolan Byrne with a goal and an assist. And I'm telling you, this Nolan Byrne kid, I love this kid, man. He's going to be a future star. You got Richard Connell with 2 goals. You got Jordan McIntosh with a goal. You've got Shane Jackson with a goal and 4 assists. You've got Michael Grace with a goal, which is a lot of people are talking about him too. Brian Cole with a goal and 2 assists. And Kyle Benedict with 3 goals. So the Hattie, like I said, Dobson only 3 goals against. Ooh-wee, Brett Dobson, you are killing it, buddy. And then you got Will Malcolm with 2 assists. So even Will Malcolm, to be honest with you, has to be better. But he's trying to put them out there. And I think he's trying to be, these guys have a mindset of just trying to always make your teammates better. And Will, you probably need to go put the ball in the net. You're going to have to do it until Q gets back. Jack Hanna being there, that's going to be a big addition for him. And hopefully they can work together and kind of quickly figure it out, but they need more production. But I did find a lot of his passes are just not connecting with the other guys. So Owen Ron with a goal. You had Ryan Lee with 3 assists, which I thought he was good. He should have had one, but he got called back. Connor Knock with his first goal. I think that was his first goal of the season, and I love Connor Knock. I thought that was a sneaky little pickup. Dylan McIntosh with a goal and an assist. And like I said, Dylan Ward, honestly, 10 goals against, 35 saves. Not really a bad night. Does he need to be better? Maybe a little bit, but he's not the issue here. The offense. You need offense. You can't score 3 goals and be like, what happened? Especially against a team like Georgia. No offense to Georgia. Don't get me wrong. I love them. They'll always have a special place in my heart because they're the first team that ever commented on one of my videos. But Georgia, in my opinion, they're a bubble team, right? So they're going to either make it or just miss. I think they're going to miss personally. And Colorado beat Vancouver. So they need to, here we go. They kind of lost that edge of beating Vancouver. They beat Vancouver, but they haven't won other games they're supposed to. So hopefully we'll be able to see them kind of get their offensive going. They need Kendrick Quebec though. That's definitely necessary, but you can't really just rely on one guy to be the only ones putting in things, right? And then we finally had Buffalo versus Calgary. And this is the final game of the week. Calgary's home opener finally, which is this is what I mean about this league. I know I love it, but I love to trash it too when it needs to be. And I know this is scheduling issues and blah, 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 blah. But we're in week 5 and this team they just finally got their home opener. I'm pretty sure, I'm trying to think if they are the last ones to get their home opener. But week 5 to get your home opener seems a little bit of a stretch. I don't know if it's better to condense it down, that knock off one of these weeks, maybe start after Christmas or something. I don't know what the solution is here, but you can't wait till week 5 to get your fucking first home opener, okay? I don't think that's okay, personally. Now, I know scheduling issues, hockey, all that stuff, which is, again, why we're going to talk about this and why I think we should flip the league to the shooting ourselves in the foot by not being in the summer. I know it's important to certain communities for the Man Cup, but it needs to get changed, man, because it would just be so much better if it was in summer and we could just get the reign of these rinks, man, where you could just basically choose what nights you wanted to play, and we could do all these games on Friday and Saturday, and then you wouldn't have to have guys flying on Sunday because they have jobs, right? So and then once we get into a full-time league, that's a different conversation. But I do think, like I said, I think the scheduling issue would be another point to move into the summer schedule. So you've got Buffalo getting 4 in the first, 1 in the second, 4 in the third, and 4 in the fourth. And then you've got Calgary getting 1 in the first, 3 in the second, almost coming back. They were going into the half with only being 1 goal down, and then 1 goal in the third and 2 goals in the fourth. Calgary seemed like they came out strong, like they were actually outplayed Buffalo there for a little bit in the first, and had a couple flashes throughout the game as well. But the problem was, Buffalo, it's almost like they started off slightly slow, I'm going to say. They turned it on, they hit the gas, and then Buffalo just keeps that same pace. You're playing the same pace all game, where Calgary, it seems like they almost kind of ran out of gas a little bit, right? So the other thing I found that they were doing was they got to shoot the ball more, man. Like they're looking for one more pass. It's almost like they don't know who's really the scorer on that team yet. Again, I'm not really sure where all these guys, how much they get to practice together and stuff, but I know that they have a few like out west guys like get together and try to figure it out, boys. Have a fucking virtual meeting, have a team building exercise, something. You guys got to do something, because I'm telling you, you had multiple opportunities that you could have got in this. I'm not saying you probably wouldn't have won, but you probably would have been a lot closer. It probably would have been a lot closer of a game. Like, don't get me wrong, they lost by 6, and this is the thing, they lost by 6. But I thought Aiden Walsh played really well. I liked him. Like, I don't know if his numbers show that. I'm gonna look at that in 2 seconds. But I personally think, especially the first half of that game, man, Calgary played what I thought very, very well. So Buffalo, 8-24 faceoffs, 16-24 for Calgary. So again, we're proving faceoffs don't mean much, which is, every time I say that, it's like, it blows my mind, man, that stat doesn't mean anything in the NLL most games. 54 shots on goal for Buffalo, 47 for Calgary. So they were putting it in, and that's what I mean. If they could have just shot those 6, 7, 8 more times that I'm talking about, you never know what goes in. 2 for 2 on the power play for Buffalo, 1 for 3 for Calgary. That's a big difference right there. And then really a low penalty night overall, 9 penalty minutes for Buffalo and 6 for Calgary. A little bit of pushing and shoving. We're definitely getting a little bit more rough as the game went on, I'm going to say. Man, that one was pretty rough, that elbow. But that elbow by Nanakoke was pretty deadly. And he was all over, man. Right away, he was just being a bug, and in a good way, though, putting the ball in the net. Like, he had a really good game. I was actually really impressed with him. So Dane Smith had a hattie. Josh Byrne had 7 assists. Dane Smith had 9 points. Tyler Pace had 5 points. Tanner Cook with 2 goals, a couple really big goals. Kyle Pepper got a goal. Like I said, Nanakoke got 5-minute major that stood up. There's not too many that actually stand, but that one did. I don't know if he intended to do that. He ran right elbow first into that guy's head. I can tell you right now, he was getting beat up. Like, he was getting he was getting beat up, but he was getting pushed around. And so, like, if he did that on purpose, I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest with you. So it was because he was a bug. He was really doing a great job out there. And you love a player on your team like that, but you hate being on the other side. So that elbow to the face was hard, though, bro. That one looked hard. So Dane Smith with 16 shots on goal and only 3 goals was actually really good, and shows how well Walsh actually played. Mitch DeSnew, 17 loose ball pickups. This is why everybody loves Mitch DeSnew, man. This is why he's considered one of the best defensemen in the league. He's just fantastic at his job, getting the ball back. That's number one. Matt Vince had a fantastic performance. If it wasn't for Brett Dobson, he would definitely be goalie of the week. What little spoiler there. 40 saves for him, 41 for Aiden Walsh. This is the thing. Aiden Walsh, I thought he played really good. I really did. I thought his first half was better than the second half, personally, but he still played really well overall, especially against such a team like Buffalo. Calgary's going to need some time to develop, but they have some good guys out there. They have Maya, they have Hayden Dixon, they have Manning. I'm probably forgetting Cook. They've got a lot of good guys. Tyler Pace, like, they got some guys out there that I really enjoy watching, and I'm a big underdog guy, so I love Calgary, to be honest with you, and their fan base. Now, I've heard different numbers out of their attendance. I was told 7, 9, I think, maybe, and then I also heard on the announcement, when they were announcing, it was 12,000 last night. So whether there was 12,000 seats sold, whatever, but impressive numbers either way. Like, 7,000 is not super impressive, but still not bad. But 12,000, like, that's where every team needs to be, isn't that, like, right around there? As long as pending their arena is going to hold that. But, like, they need to try to get to that number in order. Even the Buffalo number is the pinnacle. That's where, like, hockey teams are for the most part. That's where we'd like all teams. But, like, we got to get to that 10. Like, 10. Halifax is doing it. Calgary's doing it. Buffalo's doing it. I think Colorado is pretty close to that as well. But as far as the rest of the teams, there's some teams still here that need to get out there and support the fans need to get out there and support their Nanakoke. Like I said, he had a goal and 3 assists, and he was just all over in front of the net, screening, being a bug, just everywhere. He was great. He also had 4 loose balls, which was huge. I seen that, really noticed it, and 3 shots on goal. So really overall, good game by him. He had E. McKay with a goal and 3 assists, and he looked really good as well. I really like watching him. I remember when I interviewed Elliot Bender, he said Ian McKay, he loves watching him. And like, so when I see Ian McKay, I kind of like lock on a little bit differently to him, because I always have that in him, Elliot Bender, in the back of my mind saying that. And like that he plays like him. And so I kind of watch him a little bit extra. And I'm telling you, Ian McKay is good good at lacrosse. But hey, I know all these guys are, but damn. Ryan Benish with a goal and an assist, and it's gonna be, hopefully he can get a championship. I know a lot of people aren't on the let's get Buffalo their fourth. I kind of am. I think that'd be cool to see a fourth. And then Matt Vince, he's like, he's done after this year. Let's get through fourth. For first, Tavares has already said, like, I don't even want to hear about it. We're going to take every game at a time, and that's what the championship mindset is. So, gotta love John Tavares, that Kobe mindset. Job's not finished. Job's not finished. We can celebrate after, right? Then you got Scanfin. So Clay Scanfin. Now, I don't know if I've never noticed him before or whatever, but man, this kid was good. Like, he looked good. I think he's a rookie, I'm pretty sure, and he looked phenomenal. I'll tell you that. Then you got Colin Buchanan with 2 goals, 3 assists, and you also have Dane Smith with 3 goals, 6 assists, and Matt Vince, like I said, 7 goals against, 40 saves. What else can you ask for there, boys? You can't ask for anything else other than that. That is absolutely freaking massive. So, to the other side, you have Noah Manning with an assist, which he had a down night because he's really good, Noah Manning. You had Tanner Cook with 2 goals and assists. I really liked him. 13 shots on goal, 5 loose balls. I love that stat. I love that fucking stat. Eli Salama, he had 6 loose balls. I do want to mention that. You have, Harrison Matsuka, a goal. I liked him, man. He has swagger, that kid. Kyle Peppergott, I think that was his first goal, if I'm not mistaken. Or maybe it was the first goal in the Saddle Dome anyway. Or in their arena, sorry. And then you got Brendan Mayo with 3 assists. He's good too. He almost had one as well. Tyler Pace, 2 goals, 3 assists. Huge. And then Hayden Dixon with a goal and assist. Just amazing all the way around. Aiden Walsh, like I said, 13 goals against, 41 saves. Not a bad night for him overall. That's usually, like I say, this year, goaltending seems to be on like kind of like another level. But I think that like I think the way it just was, man, like they're just so good, man. But anyway, so that's the week preview, or that's the week recap there. And another banging week, guys. If you're not seeing these games, you're missing amazing games. Like, you got fights, you got goals, you got saves, you got drama, you got everything. Like, what else do you want out of a sport? This is the best sport in the world. I'm not kidding you. And I guess I'm biased because I watch it, but at the end of the day, I'd prefer to watch this over anything else. I'm telling you, like, look at behind me, right? One day I'll have all these filled with lacrosse jerseys eventually, to be honest with you. Right? Maybe I'll still have a couple up there. Don't get me wrong. But like, I'm telling you right now, guys, the lacrosse is just different. It's the best sport in the world. It's fast. It's hard hitting. There's lots of goals. There's lots of drama. These guys have character. They have personality, and it's not like any other sport I've ever seen in my life. That's why I love it. And it's chaotic. I love it. I love controlled chaos, and that's what box is. So anyway. So we've got, I'm going to run through my power rankings real quick. Honestly, it's going to be obviously argumentative. I always put mine out with everybody else's. So I got to get mine out there. So here we go. So my power rankings for the week, Saskatchewan at number 1. Okay. Now, some people are going to be like, oh, well, they lost, blah, 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 blah. You know what? Saskatchewan just beat Halifax, the undefeated team. Halifax has beat Buffalo. Therefore, Saskatchewan is currently sitting as the best team in the league. That's the way I look at it. You're a champ until you lose. And obviously, as the season goes on, it's going to change a little bit, right? But at the end of the day, to me, Saskatchewan's pole. Halifax is second. Buffalo third, because Buffalo has lost to Halifax. So they can't, in my opinion, they can't be over Halifax right now. Then you've got, this is where it gets a little tricky. I'm going to put Vancouver still at 4th there. Rochester at 5th. Like I said, those two really, neither one of them played, so you can't really move them from last week. San Diego didn't play. I'll keep San Diego at 6. I've got Vegas at 7, to be honest with you. And then I've got, until, this is a hard one. I want to say Colorado at 8, but I'm not going to. I'm going to put Ottawa at 8. They've had some big wins. They just put up a big performance against Philly, who some people have them at number 8, and they've had some big wins so far. And I like their style. And like I said, to me, I know that Ottawa, for me, I might be a little biased because, like I said, I want them, if one prediction comes true, I really want it to be Ottawa making the playoffs. For Jeff Teat's sake, their team that they put together, I really like. I like Callum on the back end. I like that team in general, and I just think that they deserve to be in the top 8. So for that reason, I'm gonna put Colorado at 9, and I technically don't need a 9, but they're just gonna bump out. Ottawa's gonna bump in. So there you have it. So Halifax, Buffalo, Vancouver, Rochester, San Diego, Las Vegas, and Ottawa. So there you have it. There's my power rankings for the week. Again, what do power rankings mean? Absolutely nothing, right? They're just fun to do. So you guys argue. This is up for debate. This is actually the first week, I think, in a little while that there's actually a solid debate that you could have. Who's sitting first? Who's sitting second? Who's sitting third? Right? 1 to 5. Like, you could honestly argue 1 to 5. And I've seen the arguments, and it's not that Rochester, to me, they need to beat a really good team before I can call them in the top. They can move up. And if they can beat one of these top 4 teams, they'll be probably sitting in my 2 or my 1 at that point, because they're just so offensively gifted. But it's just like, can they do it against a top level defense, a top level team that can also hit them back with the offense? And that'd be Halifax, Saskatchewan, Buffalo, Vancouver. So we'll see how they can do against one of those teams. And then we'll come back and talk to, They did beat San Diego, though, and that's personally why I have them over San Diego's. Okay, so we're going to go into player weekly awards, okay, now. And so my offensive player of the week is going to be Jeff T with 11 points. The guy is just phenomenal. He makes everybody around him better, and he's the captain of that team for a reason. Ottawa putting up 16. They're starting to get their offense going. I would like to see them put up that much offense again against a better quality opponent, but they beat Saskatchewan this year. They look pretty good overall. I like the coaching they have. I like the team they put together, and Jeff T is leading that charge. And I think this year is a year you see Ottawa make the playoffs. So we're in our goalie of the week. Obviously, goalie of the week is Brett Dobson. It's hard to not give it to him when he's 3 goals against. Gets run over. It's just, and really he should have smacked that guy for that. But anyway, or somebody should have. Where's his teammates, brother? That's the thing. I think that if somebody runs into your goalie, that guy should go, or you have a guy that can fight on your team. Everybody has one. That's their responsibility to go out there and thump that guy out. You don't touch the goalie. So I want to see a little bit more heart out of Georgia when it comes to that stuff, to be honest with you, because Brett Dobson can't be getting run over. No goalie can get run over. And if you do, you should eat the consequences of it. And if you don't got a fighter on your team, go get one, because you're going to need one, because you can't let that be the precedence. And it can't also be Brett Dobson that goes and beats them up, because he will. So if you don't get a fighter to do it for you, he's going to go beat somebody up. And trust me, he will. We've seen it this season already. He doesn't care. And I don't blame him after seeing that. I can see why he gets so mad. And that's what I said when it happened. I'm like, these goalies sometimes take a little extra shot for all the times they get bumped. And here you go. That's a perfect example of that. So, and is there going to be any recourse for that? I guess we'll see, right? So that's just my opinion on it. So my defenseman of the week is going to be for Graham Hosak. And this is why, okay? This is from Adam Levy. He put this stat line out. So he did 9 loose balls, 3 caused turnovers, 2 blocked shots, and an assist. To me, Hosak's a leader on this team, on Thunderbirds. Yes, they lost, but he still had an amazing performance. So this was Hosak's 3rd career game hitting all those marks. That ties some legends like Reed Bowering, Mitch DeSnew, and Robert Hope for the most games in the NLL history, hitting each of those marks. So I have to give it to him. There are some other guys that you could consider for sure. Callum comes to mind really quick, and the one guy from Toronto. I'm just blanking on the name right now. But there's a couple other really good defensemen this week as well in the league. I'm trying to do more of an eye test than I am just picking off stats. But when I seen something like this, I got to kind of give him his flowers. So good job, Hosak. You're a veteran leader and a big part of why Halifax will be a championship team this year. So I think that's enough, boys. I guess we could do the rookie of the week. Obviously, rookie of the week is going to be CJ Kirst. That's 5 points, 10 loose balls, just amazing. So we'll make him rookie of the week as well. Anyway, with that being said, that's episode 23. If you made it this far, I love you, boys. I love you, girls, whoever you're out there. Honestly, I know I have a 5%, 6% female audience too, which is pretty amazing. But thanks for being here. Thanks for listening. I'm just a guy behind a mic that talks and tries to a newer fan that comes up with opinions on my own. Okay, this is all it is. One of the things that's funny, I always say, I made up this Whittam trade, and it kind of started getting traction. People actually were talking about it. I'm like, guys, this is a made up trade by me. Okay, I just fucking pulled this out from doink. So it's not like I thought Whittam was ready to go, and I thought it made a lot of sense, but the way Kells is playing anyway, they don't need him. So Whittam's going to have to sit on the bench for a little bit longer and wait for an expansion or wait for Dylan Ward to be done before he gets his shot. But he's really good too, and there's a couple good goalies like that. Cask is another one that's really good sitting on the sidelines, right? So like I said, this is a New Year's show. I won't see you guys till after that. Happy New Year's. Don't drink and drive. Have a great time. With that all being said, comment what I should cover in the next episode. That lets me know what you guys want, and I can try to bring it to you. So my name is Jake McDonald. I am Anything Lacrosse. This is a game that never sits still. And thanks for coming. We'll talk to you guys next time.